The Boston Bruins might have a diamond in the rough. Okay. The Boston Bruins might have the biggest steal of the 2025 NHL draft. Who says so? I do. The name on everybody's lips out of Bruins Development Camp, now that they actually know his name, is Vashek Blanar. Somehow, this kid has come out of absolutely nowhere in the span of 2 weeks to being someone that Bruins fans just need to know more about. He was drafted 100th overall in the draft a few weeks ago, and when they drafted him, the Bruins didn't even have a picture, no graphic to put up with the tweet, and everybody's scrambling trying to find his, elite prospects page, and they couldn't find it. There was nobody by the name of Vashek Blanar. And then after development camp, just a week and a half later, everyone's saying, holy crap, the future might be Vashek Blanar. How did this happen? How on earth did this happen? Well, he went by Vashek Richards for most of his life. So that was what the elite prospects name was under. It is now under Vasek Blanar, by the way. He's Czech born or born in Colorado, but has Czech citizenship, and he plays in Sweden. Big left shot defenseman, 6'4", pretty skinny still, about 185 at 6'4". It's really small. Just turned 18 in April. So very young, very raw prospect, playing over in Sweden, had 21 points in 38 games. But again, he's the talk of dev camp. Adam McQuaid, who was running this camp for the Bruins scouting department, was absolutely raving about this kid and his willingness to play defense, his speed, his skating ability, the way he is on his edges. We hear that all the time in dev camp, how he is on his edges. And of course, what the Bruins tap into is this old picture of Vasek Blanar. Oh, man. Just born to be a Bruin. He even recreated it at Dev Camp, wouldn't you know? Look at that. Kid just oozes Bruins. Oh, man. And I can't lie to you guys. I'm no amateur scout or anything like that. I can't take a ton from Dev Camp, but there's videos just everywhere all over social media of this kid, Vasek Blanar. And watching him, I'm like, shit, man. It's just drills, but this kid can skate. For a kid who's just turned 18 and is 6'4", still growing into his body, clearly skinny as a rail. The kid can really skate, stop and start. He's nimble on the blue line. Of course, with these drills, he's also going up against other Bruins prospects who are the worst prospect pool in the NHL. So take that with a grain of salt. And he's years away. We're talking 3 or 4 years away rather than 1. But man, the hype around this kid is starting to build. And I think what the biggest thing is about it for Bruins fans is, when was the last time we had a draft steal, man? It's been a long time. In fact, I really can't even remember it. Obviously, I'm talking mid to late round steal. Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, second round picks. And Krejci was a third round pick. I mean, we're going back 20 years there. And for those guys to become Hall of Famers at where they were drafted is certainly wild, but this is a 100th overall pick in the draft. The only thing I can come close in the Don Sweeney era was Jeremy Swayman being a third-round pick, was also Hockey East goaltender of the year at Maine, so it's not like he snuck up on a ton of people. Vashek Blanar would certainly fit that mold as a fourth-round pick, 100th overall kind of guy. If he's able to become a player for this Bruins team, certainly in the mold of a Mason Lowry, big, tall, left shot defenseman with all kinds of offensive upside. Certainly Blanar is a little bit, how do I say this? A little bit more polished for his level defensively. Obviously very raw and probably not as polished as Mason Lowry, but in terms of the competition that he's playing against, he is a little bit more sound defensively than Mason Lowry was even in college at Ohio State. But this has Bruins fans absolutely buzzing. And I think this development camp has Bruins fans absolutely buzzing because it's the first time in a while that we've had legit prospects that are going to play on the team in a couple of years. Recently it's been, can we get one of these guys up to the big club? Lysell and Patra and Merkulov and I guess Lowry a little bit a few years ago, but it was mostly can any of these guys play? Can any of these guys play at the NHL level? Now you've got a little bit more hope. It's years down the line, but when you look at, obviously James Higgins was there, Will Zellers, who I'm really excited about, the goal scorer, the guy who set the record for USHL goals in the season this past year, got him in the Charlie Coyle trade from Colorado. That could be a huge deal. He's going to North Dakota next year. Dean Letourneau apparently looked better at this camp, which he needs to as a first-round pick last year. Will Moore was there, another BC kid, and Vashek Blanar. Vashek Blanar is really taking over in all of it. In the camp that had Will Zellers and James Higgins, Vashek Blanar is the guy that everybody's talking about. Albin Boya apparently was there, the main goalie who they've got the rights to, so that'll be pretty interesting. But it's really just a breath of fresh air that for the first time in God only knows, man. I mean, 7 or 8 years maybe, that there's any hope of like, oh, these guys could be a part of our future, right? Like Matthew Patra, maybe, but Lysell and Merkulov and, I don't know, some of these other guys in the past, you weren't like, oh, these are going to be big parts of the Bruins' future. The future's in good hands. Right now, you see a lot of young, very raw players out there, but you do think these guys are going to be part of this future, of this team's rebuild. Zellers, Higgins, knock on wood, hopefully Letourneau, Vashek Blanar, Will Moore, hopefully he's another guy who's super raw. They picked in the second round that's going to BC. Like, those are guys that you think realistically can be a part of the building blocks for your future. So it feels good. It feels like a change of pace, man. We're finally talking Bruins prospects in something of a good light. But again, don't expect Vashek Blanar to be up here in Boston playing for the Spoke Bee for quite a while. I would say 3 or 4 years, probably 3 years, and that's probably the timeline you're looking at for Letourneau and Will Moore as well. Higgins is probably the only one that comes up from that development camp within the next year. I absolutely see a world where Higgins obviously goes back to Boston College. I don't think there's much of a question about that, even though he hasn't said it. But I see a world where James Higgins is back at BC this year, has a tremendous year. After they get knocked out before the Frozen Four, because that's what BC does, he'll be up with the Bruins for the last couple of weeks of the season. I absolutely can see that. I don't think the Bruins will be in a playoff push, and it would be kind of house money. Bring them up, see what the kids got. So it's finally good to be excited about this prospect pool and possibly having the steal of the draft. And Vashek Blanar, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid way too hard. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about this Bruins prospect pool, about the Bruins draft, and how it looks going forward. Who are you most excited to see actually hit on the ice here in North America, whether it's for the Providence Bruins, USHL, NCAA? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are hopeful for the Bruins' future. And you can find us here live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Check out the other videos on the channel, talking Bruins, talking draft, Bruins prospects, and everything else going on in the world of Boston sports. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. We will see you tomorrow on another episode of a little ditty that we'd like to call The Cam Show.